Hello and welcome to a Student Music Network interview. My name is Manny and I'm with a very, very special guest. It's Alex Amor.
Hello, how are we all doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm in
That's a
my
good.
parents' house currently.
I love that. I did want to actually talk about quickly your Twitter yesterday. You said that you're feeling a 6 out of 10. So what's the number like today?
The number has gone up, thankfully. I am a solid 8 today.
We love to see it. Hopefully
Yeah,
it'll get 10 after this.
yeah, definitely. I'm already feeling the good vibes. So I'm
Okay.
thinking a 10 afterwards.
Love that. Love that. We'll follow up on that and see if it is a 10.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
I also actually, now we're on the topic of your Twitter, you did mention the name of your fan base, the potential name, yours,
Yeah.
and you were thinking it wasn't a good name. I love it. I think it's great.
Okay, I needed this validation because I've been thinking about this for a while. Like, what would be an appropriate name? And I've gone back and forth, and I was like, obviously, Amor should be in it. And then I asked them, I was like, what do you think? Should it be my Amors? That kind of sounds a bit strange, like a little bit like romantic. And then you've just got Amor, which
Yeah,
is yeah, like Amors. But they settled on me Amors, so we're
no,
rolling with it.
I think that is great. I think that fits. I'm a proud Mia Moore, happily forever.
Yes, we love to see it, Manny.
That's great. So of course your brand new EP literally came out on Friday. Very, very exciting times.
We did, yeah.
How did it feel, sharing that project with the world?
It's quite a bizarre feeling because we're obviously really happy to have it in the world, and it doesn't it becomes theirs, like the fans, for so long. An artist like will develop and work on a project, they might have it for between 1 to 2 years, and then you just kind of have to let it go. No pun intended from the EP title. Um, and so it's like this like elated feeling, but then there's also the strange feeling when you're like, okay, it's not mine. The world can do with it as it pleases. But mostly it's a relief and it's a nice feeling to have it in the world.
That's great because, of course, it can be scary. These are songs that you've been working on for so long. They've been yours. Of course, you did drop the singles so that, gets the fans a little bit of a feel of what it was going to be like. But then, sharing the full project of the 5 songs to everybody is a scary feeling because, like you said, it becomes theirs. But it got a great response. So that's the main part.
Yeah, thankfully. It's really nice to hear people's responses, especially for the message of pleasing people. It has quite a strong message behind it, and people resonating with that was especially nice to see.
Lou featured on the tune Bad Tattoo, of course. What was it like, working with them on that song?
I'm a huge, first and foremost, just like a huge fan of them. We met in Liverpool, Sound City, I think it was like 8 months ago. And they watched my set and they stayed afterwards, and I was there alone. So I kind of hung out with them for the rest of the evening, and we kind of gallivanted around Liverpool and
Oh,
we became friends. And then kind of back and forth for 6 months we just kept in contact, and I wrote with them, and I love 3 or 4 part harmony, and they have the most beautiful like choral voices. So I loved singing with them as well, just like together. And then I had this song, Bad Tattoo, and I knew it was kind of in their genre and they might like it, and I showed it to them, and they really liked it and they wanted to get on the song, and that was super cool. And they helped kind of tweak some of the lyrics in the second half of the song as well, which was nice. But I think with collaborations in general, you just kind of have to do it with people that you're genuinely fans of. When it feels like a label have put 2 artists together, it feels quite contrived. So with collaborations, I feel like you have to just do ones that you feel really would work well.
I want to move on
Thank
to
you.
my personal favorite tune on the EP. Can you maybe guess which one it might be?
I don't know. I
I mean,
actually don't know.
yeah,
Is it pleasing people?
Oh my God, you're kidding me. How did you guess that?
I don't know. Just because earlier you said that you had some questions to ask about the
Okay.
lyrics.
Oh
So
no,
my spidey senses assumed pleasing people.
incredible. That is spot on. It is pleasing people because it, for me, it has it's such a like a movie type song, like a opening or closing credit type song. And those for me are my favorite. And it really makes you feel like it has main character energy, I like to say. And
Thank you.
yeah, the lyrical content is very powerful, and like, you know, it sits with you. It means a lot. It's something that a lot of people can relate to. So what was it like, you know, writing those lyrics and you know, working with that type of production to make that track?
I was actually with my manager and we were at a supposed record label meeting with the label. And my manager and I were sitting there for like an hour. We're looking at each other like, have we just been ghosted? And the person didn't show up, and they didn't even have like the well-meaning to just text and say that they couldn't come. And then I was thinking about like all the different times in my life where I've had to like be a bigger person and show face and be like, oh no, it's fine, when in reality it's not fine, and you want to say something but you can't. And I remember getting back from that day just feeling quite deflated and like, oh, my time is valuable and I am valuable. And if other people can't see that, then like, cool, I'm not going to associate myself with you. So I sat on a bench outside where I lived. And I just like, I had like a light bulb moment. And when you have that, you have to stop like everything you're doing and just write, because it might not come again in half an hour. You just don't know. So I sat and I wrote this huge poem. And it kind of, the lyrics flew out of me. And luckily I had a session the next day. And I basically attached this poem to a melody. And that's why the song structure is so ridiculous. Like nothing repeats really. You've got the chorus, but then the verses are entirely different and there's no pre-chorus. It's just words
No,
and
but
melody.
I really like that. I think that's cool to, you know, switch it up a little bit and have like that tune being the ending as well. I feel like it's nice that it's like refreshing and like a different type of style. And the fact that it has the story behind it now makes it just that much better. Like I love that. And it's so, when it sits with like a real story and something that's happened to you, that's when it's most relatable to fans. And for sure, for me, and I feel like for a lot of other people, they really felt that song. And I did want to also talk about the tune, Half of Me, which is, you know, it has like a different feel to the rest of the song. It's a lot slower, but it's another tune that kind of like, I think it's a nice little break, and it fits the rest of the EP really well, because obviously the rest of them are quite, can be a little bit more punchy and a little bit more out there with like the content, and then Half of Me really brings you down, and like you really feel the type of slower vibe that you're going for there. So what was that like, you know, writing a slower tune compared to the rest of the tracks on the EP?
It's really nice to be able to write. I really enjoy writing ballads, even though I'm not a ballad artist. And part of me is like the uplifting, positive music, and then the other part's quite melancholic, side to my writing. Um, so it was just really enjoyable to write. I wrote it about long distance relationships and a couple of things that my friends were going through at the time. And I'd previously been in long distance relationships throughout my life. So it was quite an emotional song to write. And I'm quite a visual person. So when I wrote it, I imagined like someone writing it at 3 a.m. Or no, sorry, someone in an airport at 3 a.m. Like put with their headphones on, and it's like really quiet and no one's in the airport and they're about to board a flight. That's why there's like flight sounds in it, and it's quite melancholic, and it's got all this like ambient sound and like the seatbelt sound. Don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I
When
did.
you get on an airplane. Just because I wanted it to be quite immersive feeling. So I'm glad that you got that from listening to it.
No, you can definitely feel that. And now that you've even put it like into, when you can set a scene for the tune, it makes it even better because you really feel like you're there in that situation. So that's very powerful to be able to put that in a song. And I remember listening to it all the way through after obviously the rest of the tunes came out when the EP dropped. And that one was, I feel like it just fit at that moment really, really well. And it complemented the rest of the EP. I love that tune.
Thank you. I love that song as well. And we actually got lap steel on that song and two other songs in the record, which is this crazy instrument. It's like a slide guitar, but it looks like almost like a keyboard, how it's horizontal. So we got this player to come in and play on some of the songs just because I like having like a weird instrument on each project.
Oh, no way.
For my first, actually it was for Summer Sweet With You, just the two songs I dropped last year. We got flugelhorn,
Oh, no.
and then yeah,
So cool.
and then we got lap steel on this project just because I like adding weird touches to
No,
each project.
that you can tell the attention to detail. Like even thinking about doing that on a tune that you can do without it even makes it cooler because you've gone out your way to like find a rarer instrument and add it to the tune. I think that deserves recognition and applause. Honestly, that's great.
Thank you. I'm like a bit of a music nerd, so I enjoy doing stuff like that.
We mentioned it before the interview, the track Motion, and that was the first one that I really, really loved and messaged you about. And I just wanted to talk a bit more about that tune and like, again, how that
Yeah,
one.
of course. Motion came around when I was procrastinating. I was probably supposed to be doing chores, and I was listening to Age of Consent, a New Order song, and it's got this like amazing chugging bass line, and it felt really nostalgic. And I think I was at a time when I was around like 21, so a lot of my friends had moved to different cities. Everyone was kind of going about their own life, and as a friend group from school, we weren't as connected and intertwined in each other's lives anymore. Um, so I just felt really inspired and kind of nostalgic about how everything moves really quickly when you're young, and then you kind of miss all your friends, but everything's moving fast, so you're like moving with the motion. And then I heard this like two chords. I put the bass down in Logic, and then I wrote the song in like half an hour. Just fell
Wow.
out. But they're the best songs, and they don't come around often. So when they do, it's great. Um, yeah, and the kind of the feeling of I didn't realize just I think a few years ago I realized, but I'm the type of person who has commitment issues with things. So I'm like I always look forward and I never look back, and sometimes I can cut things off or let things go and move on quickly. And it's a good trait, but it's also a bad trait. So I was kind of just looking back, and that's like the lyric of like in too deep. And I've been here before asking if I'll leave, said I won't be sure. Um, the feeling of just not indecision and not really knowing how you're gonna feel. And also the song's kind of about taking ownership of your own insanity. How it's like I think as people, I think it's very easy to blame other people for our problems. And I think the beginning of the song was me being like, no, it's me. Like I'm the problem here. And that was one of the first times I was vulnerable like that in a piece of music. Just basically saying, no, it's my fault in a song.
So what do you think is the current album or your favorite song of the year so far?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I know that's just so hard because I have like so many songs I'm in love with. Can I quickly like look at a playlist?
Of course,
My
yeah.
playlist that I like. Okay, I'm checking my playlist because I just there's too many. I make a playlist and I always update it.
Yeah.
Favorite song of the year. Okay, first of all, you need to tell me yours.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I've asked you this question, but it's also very, very difficult for me as well.
Can I say three?
Of course, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, this is so difficult. Can I say 4?
Of course, it's
Okay.
fun.
So my 4 would be the first one. I'm obsessed with Kurt Vile, and he released a song called Mount Airy Hill, Way Gone,
Oh,
which I love so much. I'm quite addicted to that song. You know, it's Anything But Me by Muna. Did that come out this year?
oh, I do not know, but I can check that for you right now.
That is just like iconic pop at its best. It's like giving Haim and Taylor Swift 1989.
Yeah, it was this.
It was this year. Okay, great.
Okay.
Um, then I love Bumblebee by Dorajar.
Oh, I love that tune. I love it.
That song is just incredible.
Great choice.
Incredible. And then Easy on Your Own by Always. That song is really
That's a great.
awesome. Their whole new album is really good,
Okay.
but that's my favorite off the album.
Well, thank you.
Lovely. And I feel like a 10 out of 10 now. So
Wait, that was the main thing we wanted. That is what we wanted. Okay, great. I'm so glad that I've upped that. It was a solid 8 to start off with, which is always
it
good.
was a solid 8, but now I'm a 10. And it's all down to you. So thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it.
Let's keep in touch
Oh, for
in
sure.
the DM.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been me, Manny, and Alex Amor.
See you guys later.